Hey YouTube world, today we're going to try to answer the question, what is success? So stay tuned. Hey YouTube world, welcome back. My name is Ramenis, you can call me Remy, and today we're going to talk about success. We're going to try to answer what is success, which is very tricky. But before we get to it, let's remind ourselves of the rule, which is not to accept or reject anything from the start. Allow for the information to come in, digest that information, and then push it back out with a decision to accept it, reject it, or maybe just take parts of it and get rid of the rest. And today, the cigar of the day is Vista Real. Vista Real is from Dominican Republic. It is handmade. A buddy of mine gave me several of this, and I've had a couple. It's actually a very good cigar, but you do have to wait until you get towards the middle of it, because the first part didn't really give me a lot of flavors, if any at all. But once you get into the middle of it, you start to hit that sweet spot, and it actually has a very good flavor to it. It is more on the medium to mild, so it's not very strong, but it's a very good smoke to have on a day-to-day basis. So I appreciate my buddy for hooking me up and giving me some of those. Now, let's go back to topic in the sense of what is success. You know, what does it mean to us? How do we define it? And that could be very tricky, right? Because, you know, I don't know if there's a straightforward answer. If you ask 10 people what is success, you may get 10 different answers. Or you may get 10 of the same answers, which could probably be related to wealth, money, you know, things of that nature, which is what the marketing piece shows us and pushes in front of us all the time. But success is very tricky to answer. So one of the best ways that I've been able to at least understand it from my end is that I have to define success for myself. I have to define what success means to me, what I feel is valuable to me, what is my passion, what I love, and then work towards it. You know, that's one of the best ways that I've sort of come to understand it just from doing research and reading books and maybe, you know, just working with different individuals and seeing and hearing what makes them successful or why do they feel successful. Now, a lot of times it's hard for us to feel successful. And again, that goes back to probably us being so accustomed to seeing what we think success is, because that's what the marketing campaigns will do, right? That's what we are presented to on a day-to-day basis. You know, we see magazines or we see lists that will come up and say the top 10 most wealthiest people in the world, who's driving what car, who's vacationing where, and we sort of equate those things to, hey, if I'm doing that, if I have money, if I have this car, if I'm taking this type of vacation, if I'm wearing this type of clothes or whatever it may be, we sort of equate that, hey, if I have this level of wealth, then I'm successful. You know, that normally relates to it. And I don't have no issue with individuals, you know, trying to get more money or striving to have financial freedom or be wealthy. There's nothing wrong with that. So I don't want to, you know, advocate against it. But what I'm trying to say is that it should not be what defines success for you. It shouldn't be, you know, the fact that, hey, if you don't have money, you're not successful. And a lot of times there's folks that feel that way. So you have to define success for yourself. You have to find what that means to you. Now, the best answer that I've received that I found thus far is it came from Earl Nightingale, who was an American author and radio personality, and he focused a lot on the human mind, on behaviors, you know, character development, motivation, things of that nature. And his quote says, in regards to what is success, he says, success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. I'll read that again. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Right? Now, first time I heard it, I was like, all right, that sounds pretty, but what does it mean? So you start to sort of break it down a little bit, right? So success is a progressive realization. Progressive means, or one of the definitions, happening or developing gradually, right? Something that proceeds step by step, so something that continuously moves and gradually develops and continues to happen, right? So progressive realization, the fulfillment or achievement of something desired or anticipated, right? So now we have the progressive, which is happening, developing gradually, realization, which is the fulfillment or achievement of something that's desired, and then a worthy ideal, which is not just an idea, but it is something that you love, right? So what is that worthy ideal that you define for yourself, that you love, that you're passionate about, right? So the progressive realization of a worthy ideal is success. You have to define it for you, right? You have to define what that worthy ideal is. But as long as you're following that sort of statement, right, you're progressively realizing what you're passionate about, what you love, then you are indeed a successful individual, right? Don't get caught up with everything else that gets pushed out there. And if you don't have this or if you don't have that, then you're not successful, because we can easily fall back and then feel bad about ourselves, feel like we haven't accomplished much in life and things of that nature. As long as you're doing deliberately what you want to do, what you're passionate about, then you are a successful individual. So congratulations on that if you are there. If you're not, then you have to define it. You have to understand, okay, what is my worthy ideal, and how do I progressively realize that worthy ideal? Now, one way to define it, or to define success for yourself, you have to have a good understanding of who you are as an individual. You have to be honest of who you are. You have to be honest of what's important to you, who you are. So who am I? Which can also be a tricky answer to obtain, or a tricky question to answer in itself. So to me, the best way to find out who you are, or to define who you are more and more, is to start removing who you are not, right? So process of elimination. The day that you start to remove who you are not, by meaning, don't do actions that you take that are not you, that doesn't make you feel well, stop taking those actions. Decisions that you're making, places that you're going, activities that you're getting involved with, anything that you feel is not you, then you should start removing that. So process of elimination. When you do that, then by default, you're leaving time and room to actually do the things that you do like, the things that you're passionate about, right? The things that define you as an individual, things that you're comfortable, that you're natural with, that you love. So by process of elimination, you can start to define yourself and understand who you are as an individual. Once you know who you are as an individual, it's easier for you to then define success for yourself, right? To define that worthy ideal. And once you know what that worthy ideal is, then you have to progressively realize that worthy ideal, right? So we'll go back to Earl's quote, in the sense that success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Okay, that is the formula. So he's giving us here a formula that we should follow, and if we do, by finding that worthy ideal and progressively realizing that, then we are successful individuals. Hope this message was received well by all of you. I would love to hear your comments, suggestions. If you know of success, or if you have an explanation of what you feel success is to you, then by all means, please put it in the comments. I would love to hear what you have to say, and maybe I can learn from it, others can learn from it. It's definitely a community for us to grow and develop ourselves. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please do so, and we'll continue to deliver more topics as we go ahead. As of now, thank you so much for your time, and I'll talk to you soon.